Hey loves and welcome back to my channel. It's Jama here, and in today's video we're going to learn how to make this beautiful dress. Though I did some alterations on this dress, the gathers at the waist is not the same because my client said she doesn't want it that way, but the neckline, the second tier, the bow tie at the shoulder, everything is the same. So I'm going to share with you guys how to make this particular dress, especially this built up neckline. So you can see that the gathers at the waist is somehow different from what we have at the on the thumbnail, because that is what my client wants. But I will show you guys how to make that gathers also. Now this is the fabric that I'll be using, and I have 4 yards here. My client is a plus size lady also, but the thing is, if you're making this particular dress, I'll advise you to buy 4.5 or 5 yards if you are sewing for a plus size lady, because you may not afford to manage this fabric. 4 yards was really small. Now I will start up by cutting out the first tier, like the first gather. So the first gather of this dress, I want to make it 19 inches plus 2 inches for seam allowance. That will be 21. So I'll mark out 21 inches and I will cut. I folded the whole of the 4 yards. From that 4 yards, I will cut out 19 inches and then I will cut. Then the second tier, the second gather will be 13 inches, right? Plus extra 2 inches, and that will be, it will be 13 inches plus extra 1 inch for hemming, and that will be 14. So the first gather should be longer than the second gather, though it is up to you. It depends on how long you want this to be or how you want to arrange the gathers. But first of all, the first gather is 19 inches plus 2 inches, and that is 21. Now I'll go ahead and cut this. Then another rule when it comes to making this type of dress is that the second gather should be way longer than the first gathers. Let's say that you used 2 yards for your first gather. The second gather should be up to 4 yards. The waist of this lady that I'm making this dress for is 40 inches, right? So I'll do her waist times 2. Her waist times 2 is 80 inches. So this first tier should be 80 inches. Then the second tier should be 80 times 2 again, or even 80 times 3. So this one is the second tier, and I said that it is 13 plus extra 2 inches, so I'm making it 15. So this one should be way longer than that first one, so that when you gather it on the first one, it will not be short, like it will not be short. So now, like I said, I'm managing this my 4 yards, but if you have enough fabric, you may not have to bother. So this one is the first gather, so I'm trying to reduce the length so that the second gathers will go round, it. So I said her waist is 40, so I'm marking out 40 times 2, and that is 80. So I'm folding my fabric into 2, and after folding that first gather into 2, I will measure out 40 inches. So the one that will gather around her waist will be her waist times 2. Then the one that I will gather the second gather should be 80. That 80 times 2 again, so that it will be very long. Now I am done cutting, and this is the fabric that we use. I managed to get the fabric that we use for the top. Now I want to use this one for the front, but it wasn't enough, so I used it for the sleeve. Now I have reduced that first gather to 40 times 2, that is 80. Now I will use this one for her sleeve. She said that she wants me to add a little sleeve to her dress. So the little sleeve will be very short. It should be around 8 inches. So now I'll fold this fabric into 2, and I'll go ahead and mark out the little sleeve that she wants me to add for her. Though if you want to make this dress a sleeveless dress, it is fine, because the one in the picture is also a sleeveless dress. It is fine if you want to do it that way. So now I'll cut out her first sleeve, a very short sleeve, and after cutting out her first sleeve, I'll use it to cut out the second one. Then we can move over to the bodice or the bustier of this dress. So this dress is a built up neckline. If you take a good look at that picture, you notice that it is a built up neckline, and I think this is the first time that I'll be teaching built up neckline on this channel. So now after cutting this first sleeve, I'll cut out the second one, then we can move over to our top. Now I am done cutting out this sleeve. The next thing that we are going to cut right now is the top. So now I will fold, and like I said, she's a plus size lady. Her bust is 49, her waist is 40, her hip is 52. So after folding, make sure you have excess fabric. Now, before you mark a shoulder of a built-up neckline, you will come down by like 4 inches from the top of your fabric and mark a straight line. So this line that I'm marking right here now is where my measurement to start from. Like, you leave an extra measurement above your shoulder line. So I came down by 4 inches or even 5 inches and I marked a straight line. So this line now is my new shoulder line, instead of starting from the top or from the edge of that fabric. Then from there, her half length is 19 inches plus 1 inch and it's enough. So I feel like this 4 inches is too much, so I reduced the allowance that I left at the top. I reduced it to like 3 inches or even 2.5, and I marked. So anytime you're making a built-up neckline, you should leave at least 3 inches from the top of your fabric before you mark your shoulder line. So this new line is my shoulder line. After marking this line, I'll start taking my body measurements from here. So I'll go ahead and rule the line first of all. I don't know if you are seeing my markings. Now, after marking this line, I will come down from there. I will get her bust point. Her bust point is 11. Her under bust is 15. Then her half length is 19 plus extra 2 inches seam allowance. Then 2 inches above her bust point is her chest line. So her bust point is 10. 2 inches above it is 9. And that will be her chest line. So now I'll go ahead and rule all these lines before I'll start taking my body measurement. And for the dart, I am using only an underbust dart for her. Now, after marking these lines, the next thing that I'm going to do is to mark my neck width. So if you're making a built-up neckline, your neck width should be 2 inches. Do not make it 3. 3 is too much. So the width of your neckline on fold should be 2 inches. So I'll go ahead and mark 2 inches for her on fold. But before I do that, let me mark her normal shoulder. Her normal shoulder is 18 inches divided by 2, that is 9. So her shoulder is 16 divided by 2, that is 8. And I marked the shoulder and the armhole. So now let me mark my armhole so that we all can know where our shoulder line is at. So the neck width is 2 inches, 2 inches. Then from that 2 inches, you will mark your shoulder slant. And after marking your shoulder slant, you will give it a V neckline, like a very small V neckline. And her neck depth, I want it to stop at 7 inches. So from that 2 inches, you mark a small V neckline to connect to 7 inches. The neck depth will not be too deep. Then you, from that shoulder line, you go up by 2 inches, and this will be the built up. From the shoulder line, you go up by 2 inches and you connect it back to your normal shoulder. So you can see the neckline went up by 2 inches. That's why I said you should leave an extra allowance above your shoulder. Now her dart is 4.5 plus extra inch, that is 5. Then I'll go ahead and mark her bust, her dart, her under bust dart. And the dart, like I said, will stop at 1 inch before the bust point. Normally darts stop at 1 inch before the bust point. So now we are almost done with the top, the front. What we are going to do now is to take her bust measurement divided by 4 and her waist measurement divided by 4 plus extra 1 inch for dart allowance. Remember to add your normal seam allowance after adding the dart allowance. I hope you understand. So now after doing this, we are going to cut out our neckline. You cut it up to the built up. Then from the built up, you come down to your normal shoulder. From the shoulder, you cut out your armhole. After cutting your armhole, you can now cut out the side. Now after cutting this front, we are going to use it to cut out our back. And our back is also a built up neckline. So I am doing freehand cutting for this built up neckline. And what I'm going to do is that I will fold another fabric. Remember to notch that, please. I will fold another fabric and I will place this front on top. So you can see what our front looks like. You can see how the neckline went up. That is how you cut a built-up neckline. So now what I'm going to do is that I'll fold another fabric, and after folding another fabric, I will add 2 inches for zipper allowance. This dress will have a zipper at the back. So this is the fabric that I want to use for it. I'll go ahead and trim. After trimming, I'll fold it into 2 and make sure that you add zipper allowance. Now remember that when we were cutting the front, we added extra allowance at the top of our shoulder. The same thing applies to the back. You also go up by extra 2 inches or 3 inches above your shoulder at the back also. So now I have placed my fabric on this one, and I have added my zipper allowance 2 inches. I'll notch my dart, and I will also cut out the side. So remember our normal shoulder, and then the shoulder, the neckline comes after, before the shoulder, on top of the shoulder. That is where your neckline will be at. So now I'll cut out the side, I'll cut out my armhole, and when I get to the normal shoulder, I will stop. This is the normal shoulder, right? So I'll mark out my normal shoulder. This line is for my normal shoulder. This is freehand, so I will indicate where my normal shoulder stopped at. Then I can remove the back. After doing that, I will mark my straight line to indicate my normal shoulder. You can see that I have an extra allowance above my normal shoulder. So I will also go up by 2 inches above that my normal shoulder. I'm trying to cross check if everything is okay, so that when I am joining, it will not be difficult for me to join. So what I'm going to do now is that I will go up by 2 inches above my normal shoulder. But before I do that, I want to indicate my zipper allowance line. So this line that I'm marking right now is to indicate where my zip allowance is at. It is very important. Then the neck width for your back should also be 2 inches. It should not be more than 2 inches. The neck width. Remember that the neck width for the front is 2. The neck width for the back also will be 2 inches. So I'll go in by 2. Though if you want, you can make it 3, but 2 inches is okay. Then you go up by 2 also. 2 by 2 or 3 by 2, anyone you want to make it. Then curve that place where it joins the normal shoulder. It is important. So at the back, the neckline will go up, and that is why we call it a built-up neckline. So after doing that, we are going to cut it out. The next thing that we are going to do after this is to add our facing, because this type of dress needs a facing. So you can see the back neckline, you can see how it went up, and that is our built-up neckline. So we are going to cut out a facing for the back neckline, and we are also going to cut out a facing for the front neckline. It is really important, because using a bias will not give you a fine finishing. So now I am done cutting out the facing, and I will place the facing on the neckline, and I will turn only the neckline. Don't turn the shoulder, please. Just turn only the V. And for the back, turn only the top. Now this is for the bow tie, the belt on the shoulder. So you go ahead and cut out 2. One will be a long one, the other one will be a short one. So for me, I made sure that it is up to 60 inches, or even more than 60 inches, because it will drop at the front and it will drop at the back also. And after cutting out this long one, you will cut out the short one, the one that will be on top of it. Then after cutting the short one, you will turn the side. It is very important, turn the side. So now I have 2 pieces here, and the width is 7 inches. So just go ahead and turn, and after turning it, you should have a 3 inches wide bow tie or belt. I don't know what to call that stuff on the shoulder. So after cutting this one, I'll cut out a short one, and that short one should be like 10 inches. So now I'll cut out the short one. I am folding my fabric for the short one. You know that the short one is 2. I'll fold it into 2. and I have like 10 inches, 12 inches here, and the width remains the same. The width of the long one is 7 inches. The width of this one should be 7 inches also. So I have two there. The next thing that I'm going to do now is to turn, and I'm done turning and I'm done ironing. So if you place them, this is what you will have. You have the long one and you have the short one also. So after placing them, you will get a belt. I will use this for a belt, and I will use it to tie the two of them, and it will give me that bow tie look. Now after doing that, the next thing that I'm going to do is to join my front and my back. This is my front, and you can see that I've turned my V neckline. The next thing is to close my zipper allowance. I'll have to close my zipper allowance. You can see the back neckline also. I closed the top, only the top. So after doing that, I'll go ahead and close my zipper allowance before shaping the front and the back. I like closing my zipper allowance. So for the gather, this one is the long one, the first tier. I'll go ahead and gather the second tier on top of it, on top. Like if you are making the gathers should be on top. So I'll just go ahead and place this one on top. I hem the up and down. I'll just go ahead and place it on top and then gather it. So if you want the gather around the waist to be the same thing, that is what you're going to do. You will hem the area that you will join to the waistline, then you will gather it on top. So I'll place this one on top. I'll just place it on top and I'll gather. As I'm gathering, I'll be running a stitch on top. That is just the difference. But my client said that she doesn't want her waist gathers to be like this also. So now I am done, and this is her sleeve. The sleeve is a very small sleeve, more like a cap sleeve. I'll go ahead and shape my sleeve. After doing that, this is what I have. My gathers are fine. Like, I like this particular gather. I don't know, but I just like it. You can make it gathers, you can make it pleats. So I was doing more of pleats in order to manage my fabric. The next thing that I'm going to do right now is to shape my top. It is really important. So you can see that my gathers were not even enough. I had to find a way to cut out more fabric and make up my remaining gathers. Now I'm done closing my zipper allowance. I'll place my front on my back and I'll go ahead and shape. So once you are done shaping the shoulder and the side, your built up neckline is there already. It is not hard at all. The only difficult thing is maybe drafting. So I'll go ahead and take my bust measurements. After marking my bust measurements, I'll mark my waist measurements. Then I'll connect. Then you also go ahead and use this facing to close your shoulder. And now I am done shaping, and I'll trim my armhole. After trimming my armhole, I'll trim my waistline, I'll fix my sleeve, and then I will do my gathers around my waistline. But before I do that, make sure that you mark your half length. And if you are making this type of gathers, remember, like if you're making that gathers that you make on top, remember to weave your half length first of all before you start making your gathers, because after making the gathers, weaving it may be difficult for you. So now this is my gather. Had it been I wanted my gather to be on top of my waistline, like on top, like the one we have on the picture. You will just go ahead and gather it on top. You will hem the up and then gather it on top of your waistline. But that is not what we are going to do. I did the normal inseam gathers. Then I'll fix my sleeve and I'll go ahead and attach my bow tie. You can use your machine or needle and thread to attach this bow tie. After attaching your bow tie, you will also fix your zipper. For me, I used my machine to like tack my bow tie down around my shoulder. Then for my zipper, you close, you measure your zipper to know where your zipper will stop at. Then you close the remaining part of the gown. So this is where my zip will stop at. I'll close the remaining part of the gown. After closing it, I'll fix my zipper. And at the end of the day, this is what I have. So registration for our online classes is ongoing. We have like 11 online classes: content creation, blazer, trouser, joggers, corsetry, data manipulation. So many, we have so many, like 11 courses. So if you want to register, you can just drop a comment in the comment section and I'll direct you on how to register. Do not forget to give this video a thumbs up and click on notification bell so that anytime I upload a new video, you will be notified. Do not forget to subscribe, and see you all in my next video. Bye.